Could this be the final stream? Left last stream on a bombshell as Mr. Scotland Yard, whose name I can't remember. But that's not important, mate.
How about Budget Gumshoe?
No, that's not kind to Gumshoe. Because that implies that Gumshoe has more budget than anyone.
That's even
salary cutting noises.
You made it worse.
Anyway, let's crack on with this, which I saved in the middle of a conversation. For all I know, there was a checkpoint coming right up.
Very funny. I wanted to say pretty funny, but it came out as funny, and I'm really tired. It's fine.
Huh? Me?
Objection.
You had better have some solid proof to substantiate such a rash claim, my Leonard friend.
Consider the fact that we have only been aware of Mr. Ashley Graydon's identity for the last few hours. We learnt of it only during the course of the trial today. Well, apart from the juror, but...
Indeed! Preparations for his testimony were made with great urgency during our hour-long recess. While the police executed the subpoena and brought the man here from the communication station.
And until that time, Mr. Graydon would have had no idea, no inkling that he would suddenly be required to appear in court.
Are you suggesting that until such time as he was summoned?
Yes, my lord. Until then, it's reasonable to assume he knew nothing of the peephole. It was only once Mr. Graydon was in the stand that he realized his position, that he would have to defend himself against the accusation that he was the third intruder.
You're suggesting to the court that it was while this trial was in progress that he received this information, so that he could commit perjury in order to save his skin?
Exactly. And the only person with knowledge of the investigation that he had any contact with is you, Inspector Gregson.
This is a blooming outrage! Why would I be giving away details of our investigations of this fella, eh?
Angry bite noises.
I was summoned to his lordship's chambers during the recess in any case. Have you forgotten that?
Quite true. I had a number of questions regarding the events that transpired at the pawnbrokery.
Which means the first time these two laid eyes on one another was after proceedings resumed following the recess. Since then, they've been in full view of the stand, where such illicit discussions couldn't possibly have occurred, even though we both saw that happen. Ah!
Oh, I've just remembered something, Runo.
What is it, Iris?
There was one time before, wasn't there? I think it was when Ginny was testifying.
Oh yes, now you mention it. Even I remember this. When the bailiff was dispatched to retrieve Mr. McGilded's music box from the scene of the crime, that was an accident. That's it. It was during that testimony! I remember finding it strange at the time. Mr. Graydon and the inspector seemed to be having some kind of secret discussion. It would have been possible for you to give Mr. Graydon the information he needed then.
You little toe rag, you're making all this up. I'm a respectful Scotland Yard inspector, for crying out loud. Why'd I do something like that? Why'd I be giving away confidential details to the likes of this bloke?
Admittedly, you wouldn't have had any reason to do something like that for no gain. But perhaps it was part of a deal of some kind. then it starts to make more sense.
What deal, Counsel?
I wonder if perhaps in exchange for details about the people at the crime scene, Mr. Graydon agreed to give a certain something to the inspector.
Oh. I'm sure I need not remind the inspector that, if found to be true, striking a deal of any kind of a witness would be considered a gross case of malfeasance.
Malfeasance. I don't know.
Well,
Objection!
it's becoming clear that jumping in with accusations is this nippity student's specialty.
I don't do that.
But with the stakes so high, the prosecution is not prepared to listen to baseless charges. It is incumbent on the defense now to present evidence in support of this diabolical claim.
Evidence?
Just what are you proposing that the inspector demanded of the witness in return? The court must see proof of this alleged deal.
If Inspector Gregson really did strike a deal with Mr. then logically, there's only one thing he could have asked for. And it must be it!
Bruno, do you think it could be?
Yes. It's the missing link that would join all the dots together in this puzzle.
I must press you for an answer now, Counsel. What evidence explains the nature of the alleged deal that Inspector Gregson made with the witness?
First thing I thought of is like the music box, but the answer is
The answer is safe scum.
First thing I'm thinking was this.
Take that!
This shows exactly what the deal between these two men was all about.
Well, Inspector, what do you have to say for yourself? Dear me, it would appear this answer has in no way satiated your appetite.
Oh no, that was so much build up for a wrong answer.
What's new, though?
Okay then. Is it this?
Take that!
Inspector Gregson. Besides this murder, is it not true that you've been working on another very important case?
What? Are you getting out now, sunshine?
Is it possible that this other top secret case is what's alluded to in this newspaper article here? The classified secrets being leaked overseas from the... Wait, so what is about that of the Ministry of Justice?
How the bleeding Nora could you...
We discovered during the course of this trial the music box deposited at the Windy Banks by Magna Gilded, a special music box designed to play two discs at once. It would seem very likely now that encoded on the pair of discs that were in Mr. McGilded's possession are the leaked classified secrets. I don't care, I was right the first time. So I put it to you, Inspector, that in order to recover the second of the discs containing those secrets, you covertly made a deal with Mr. McGraden, in which you exchanged the discs for the details of the case. You little... Ah! At least the other two guys are back.
Order! Order!
On the day of the incident, when we met you at Windybugs, you said this.
I'll be taking that whatever it is of McGilden's down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over.
Sorry. No, don't. Don't give it to him. It's mine. That is mine.
I'm sorry, miss, but anything belonging to Mr. McGilden must be taken in as evidence now.
Scotland Yard already knew at the time, isn't that right? That Magnus McGilden was involved in the stealing of government secrets.
My orders were cover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the ministry. Do it on the QT. Strictly hush hush. That explains why, when I presented this disc as evidence to the court, you objected so heavily, I presume. Because you knew that it contained highly confidential information. Blimey, not likely. I mean, I wasn't that sure of it myself. I realized there was a possibility, that's all.
Inspector, surely you're not saying that in order to acquire the second of these music box discs, you did indeed review confidential details of the crime scene to the witness, to aid and abet this man giving false testimony.
There's no other way that Mr. McGraden could have known of the existence of the people. It's the only explanation. A deal was struck between these two men.
Roar!
No!
Accurate.
Objection!
Thank you.
If, and I stress if, this sobering assertion turns out to be founded in truth, it would mean that the second disc is, as we speak, here in this very courtroom.
Wait, what? In this room? How could you possibly make a claim like that?
Because Inspector Gregson is a Scotland Yard detective.
What?
What's that supposed to mean, eh? As a seasoned policeman, the Inspector will approach this alleged deal with caution. Certainly he would not have accepted a gentleman's agreement in this matter. No, he would have insisted on having the article agreed upon in the palm of his hand.
Good gracious, then you mean to say...
Judge.
Inspector Gregson already has the item in question in his possession.
It's under his hat!
He has the second disc actually on his person.
Yes! The defense demands that the inspector is searched at once.
Definitely. They could only have struck a deal with each other when Ginny was testifying before. And Gregsy hasn't moved from the witness stand since.
Well, I mean, could have. A lot of people have moved in and out. My McLord, please. Order! An examination of his personal effects immediately.
Well, Inspector...
This young lad wants to tone down his imagination. He's insulted me and my profession quite enough. However, if it will put this matter to bed and dispel any doubts about my involvement, then I'll happily submit to a body search.
Don't sound too into it. What? He's gonna agree to it?
I presume you're aware of the precipice in which you now teeter, my learned friends. You've made a most serious allegation against Scotland Yard here. If, following the search for the inspector's personal effect, no disc is found, you will be deemed unfit for court service. This trial will end, and my country country's government will formally demand of yours that you're severely reprimanded.
That sounds serious.
Indeed, to have a visiting student make such defamatory remarks about our country's most senior police force. Is not something Her Majesty's government will be able to overlook.
You're just threatening Bruno because you're scared.
The accusation is beyond serious. You must be prepared for grave consequences.
It's true. I can't imagine Gregson would have accepted a gentleman's agreement for something so critical. The disc must have physically changed hands, which means the inspector should have it. But somehow, something doesn't feel quite right here.
Very well, Consul. You know the implications, so let me ask you one final time.
Yes, my lord.
Do you still persist in formally requesting a search of the inspector's personal artifacts? Save scum time!
You know it. He's actually a sleight of hand artist, and it's on the other guy again. Yes, the defense formally demands the search to be conducted. Runesco, this is not the time to be, like, funny.
Don't say you weren't warned, but your typical Nipponese stubbornness may well land you in hot water this time. Perhaps the lesson will do you some good. Fair enough. I've got nothing to hide.
Very well, then.
Objection.
Oh, here he goes.
The defense demands a search, but not of Inspector McGregson.
What? Now what's all this then? I'm the one you're accusing, aren't I? I thought you wanted to search me.
No, Inspector, not you. Somebody else.
What's the meaning of all this, eh? Lost it at last, have you, sunshine? The court shouldn't have to put up with this nonsense. You're being completely irrational.
Be quiet, all of you.
Oh my god, you were right.
I am a genius!
Bruno's doing what you told him. You all told him to do and having the courage of his convictions. So you should respect that and listen to what he has to say in good faith. Because that's the British way.
Well said, young lady. Indeed, this court is in awe of the defense counsel's conviction and eagerly awaits his next words.
You what? Yeah, don't be hasty, my lord.
If I'm not mistaken about the things I've seen in court today, I'm fairly sure that I know who has that disc at the moment. There's only one person it can be.
Consul, of whom do you request the search now?
Cesaro!
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
I'm guessing it's Grayson because that's why he started bleeding again. Graydon, I mean.
Take that.
Mr. Ashley Graydon. The defense demands that he be searched at once.
Very well. I presume you will not protest, Mr. Graydon.
I'm scared they're not doing it.
Au contraire.
He's too into it. He's too into it. So a brief body search was carried out by the court bailiff. A few short minutes later, it was revealed that Mr. Graydon had nothing unusual in his person at all. Okay.
Oh, did you?
That's
Love
how my
it.
story ends. I actually don't have another idea. um,
What if it's the
what?
actually the inspector though? I know he said not the inspector, but still.
I don't want to try him yet.
Yeah.
It's Sholmes, he stole it.
What if he really did though?
My lord, the defense demand this must be judged to us.
Objection.
This is slightly different.
It seems my name and his friends does not understand the gravity of requesting such a search.
I'll see what they say
Then
after.
he
They'll
shall
give a
get
hint.
humiliation.
Yeah.
If Grexy doesn't have the disc at the moment, the question is, where could he have hidden it? The trouble is,
Oh, sorry.
Trouble is being this witness stand the entire time. It's not an easy situation to go about hiding the eagle. Honestly, only one place he could have possibly hidden it. Is it on, like... Which of them is standing on the left? Is it the tall one? I think it's the tall one who's standing next to him.
Take that.
Of my lord, Mr. Nash McSkulkin.
Well, I never.
Yeah. Blimey. Me? Him?
Very well then. Bailiff? Restrain the witness and conduct a thorough search of his personal effects.
Please, my lord.
Inspector? Oh, you got it right.
Scotland Yard has to object to this search.
Objection.
Unfortunately for you, Inspector, your objections carry no weight here. In this courtroom, only the prosecution and the defense have the authority to object. But Lord Van Zeeks, I have no idea what forces are in play that might influence your actions. But personally, I have no intention of obstructing the course of this trial. Ugh.
Bailiff, carry out the search.
Now, hold on, Mo. I don't know nothing. Nothing about no disc. Cut it out!
What?
Ah!
Bailiff. Bailiff.
Here, my lord, in the witness pocket. I found this. Good lord, that's...
Another music box disc. I don't know nothing about it. Nothing.
That is the second music box disc left behind by Magnus McGilded. Is it not, Inspector Gregson?
Ah!
He's so skinny, how could they hide it?
Order! 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 Mr. Skulkin, what do you have to say for yourself?
Gordon Bennett. I mean, just Gordon Flamin' Bennett. I swear I didn't know nothing about that disc. Honest to God.
Hansel, would you please explain what exactly is going on here? I'm getting too old for this shit. The alleged deal that was struck between this witness and this detective, no?
Without question, my lord.
Then for pity's sake, why on earth is this man in possession of the disc that the inspector traded for information?
Inspector Gregson is a shrewd, calculated man who rarely loses his composure. not true. But at one particular point in this trial, he exhibited some unusual behavior from Reed.
I don't recall what unusual behavior.
Oh,
It was, yes, during my cross-examination of Mr. Graydon. Tell me, Mr. Graydon, when you left the pawnbrokery that night, was it by any chance the second disc in your jacket pocket?
I admit to nothing of the sort.
While Mr. Graydon answered my questions, the inspector appeared to have grabbed Nash Skulkin by his coat and was shaking him violently.
yeah, he didn't know. Thought me noggin was gonna fall clean off, I did. I was wishing I'd be born as me brother, I was.
What exactly happened to make the detective attack you like that?
I ain't got a clue, he just suddenly turned and grabbed me whistle like that and started shaking me. What? Why the blazes didn't you mention the third gun when we got down to the station? That's what he said. Yelled it right down my ear, all he did. My head's still shaking.
Hmm.
The way the detective behaved then was extremely out of character, but looking back now, it must have been then that he did it. That was the opportunity Inspector Gregson created for himself in order to hide the disc.
Just casually leaning on his sword, by the way. Oh, bless my wig! He hid it!
Yeah.
But I'm afraid I fail to comprehend the motive here. If the detective had acquired the disc he was after, why on earth would he then proceed to hide it in another man's pocket? This is a court of law. He could have submitted the item as evidence.
It would appear, my lord, that the inspector was not at liberty to do that.
Why ever not?
As the man himself revealed earlier, his current assignment had some special conditions. My orders were recover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the ministry, and do it on the QT, strictly hush hush.
Oh, he said that 20 minutes ago.
Hush, hush. A top secret assignment, was it?
As far as we're aware, the information stolen comes from confidential government communications. It would seem that if information were to be revealed in court as evidence, it would be problematic. Does that sum up the situation, Inspector? I'm operating under direct orders from the Ministry. I'm afraid I'm not at liberty to answer that question. So, realizing there was a chance that you may be searched here in court, you took steps to hide the disc you'd acquired from the witness.
Ah, does this mean?
He only pretended to attack Mr. McSkulkin in order to get close enough to him, to slip the second disc into his pocket.
So it was all a pretense. Well now, Inspector Gregson, and you, Mr. Graydon. Are you prepared to admit to the accusation made against you of this alleged deal? Admit to it. Yours truly. Please.
Yeah, we all know he will lie forever until he has to admit it's wrong. Mr. Graydon!
Clearly, our Eastern visitor has an uncommonly active imagination.
And you already admitted to perjury.
However, there is no proof that I passed that disc to the inspector.
Objection.
But How do you explain the reason why you knew about the peephole?
I'm under no obligation to explain.
The burden of proof is always on the defense. Hey, Ducky. What's up? What?
Yes, I lied in my testimony. That I admit, so sentence me accordingly. But that is all I admit. Murder, leaking government secrets, striking a deal with the detective. All of it is this young Eastern man's fantasy. I have no idea what any of that is about.
You what?
Late breakfast. I love time zones. It's almost midnight here. Well, what about you then, Inspector Gregson? Do you admit to making a deal with Mr. Graydon in order to acquire the disc?
Ladies and gents of the jury, as a Scotland Yard inspector, I will declare this and nothing more. I am acting in the best interests of the country. Whatever I've done, it's been in the name of justice! So, as members of the public of this fine country, I'd like to think that justice will be your guiding light when you're making your decisions.
This is quite a quandary indeed. Rarely have I encountered such extraordinary tumultuousness in the concluding of a trial. Us too, Judge, us too. Nevertheless, in the absence of any further evidence to be presented, I believe it is time that we put the matter to the jury for the final leadings.
Oh, hey, I had eggs yesterday. Well, now,
What
as
kind
a
of
foul servant of Queen and Country, I must say I sympathise with the odd inspector.
Yes, he is a despicable man, I'm sure. In service, one becomes a good judge of character.
Even crossing your eyes doesn't help when it comes to looking at this case. It's all blurred to me. Well, as a fellow professional, I'd like to put my faith in the detective, really.
Graydon's highly skilled operator stuff. Currently in presence of adult stuff.
Detective has very much trust in eyes. More than this, I cannot say. I don't believe it. These 6 juries are... They're going to believe me, Gregson. If they declare the decision now...
Is Ginny going to be found guilty?
How? They've clearly shown that there's something wrong going on. If I don't manage to produce some definitive evidence right now, then we're going to lose. Even some proof that Graydon killed Windybank, or stole those government secrets. Or some evidence to force Gregson into admitting he struck a deal with the witness. Maybe we should look at the evidence. Like, look at the disc now we have it.
Well then, counsel. I think it is time I imposed on the jurors to declare their final decisions, no? That is, unless you have some compelling evidence you have thus far not presented to court.
So let the judge call on the jurors to announce their leanings. Gina will be found guilty for some reason.
So there's no choice then, Bruno. You have to throw some more evidence at them.
This is it now. It all comes down to this. We don't present evidence against Gregson. Great. I actually don't know what they're really going for here. Do I have the evidence? No, I don't. What haven't I shown? sources now. Mr. Graydon, there is one final piece of evidence I would like you to see.
You misguided fool. Whatever you intend to show me now, you'll be wasting your time. I have nothing to lose. I assure you, I will admit to nothing.
It's my last chance. It looks like I'm going to have to force his hand here. One final piece of evidence to get him to admit to the deal he clearly struck on the stand. I really don't know.
Take that!
What on earth is this, Council?
Irrefutable proof, my lord, of the corrupt dealing that went on between these two men.
Or perhaps irrefutable proof of the corrupt workings of my learned friend's mind.
Ugh.
Really, Council, at this stage of the proceedings, I would have expected a more considered argument. The defense will be duly penalized.
Ah!
Hurrah!
They only struck that deal at the very last possible moment when they were on the stand. What's more, there's no love lost between them, clearly. It was strictly business.
If you think about it, murder and treason are both such serious crimes.
Yes, punishable by death.
So I don't think old Silky is going to admit to either anytime soon, do you?
No, but Gregson, on the other hand, he's just refusing to admit what happened because he's been sworn to secrecy, out of a sense of duty.
I wonder. If Rexy's lips are sealed because he's determined to do his duty, then perhaps the prize isn't open. You're going to have to be determined enough to do your duty too, Luna.
Of course, he'd do anything to follow his orders, so...
The jury has indicated its readiness to declare its final findings.
Objection!
I urge you to consider this as your own final deed in this trial, Council.
This is my last chance. It looks like I'm gonna have to... Yeah. It does start to sound like they're gonna do it for the same for both of them. Inspector Gregson, there is one final piece of evidence I would like you to see.
Huh? What's this then?
You refuse to acknowledge that you did in fact strike a deal with the witness here today. Then you leave us no choice but to examine this piece of evidence thoroughly.
Oh, go on.
It's my last chance. Okay. Could it be like the music box because now we've got them both?
Take that!
Is that Mr. McGilden's peculiar music box, Council?
Yes, with a disc already in place ready to play. I think perhaps now would be a good time to listen to the sound produced by the music box again. Only this time, with the second disc we've just discovered set in place as well.
Goodness, is this Council?
No,
Ah, right, you
wait,
haven't played
wait.
the disc yet.
I can't let you do that.
Why not?
Because it's got nothing to do with this case. That's why.
Objection!
Not true, Inspector.
Eh?
Defense has already proposed that the sounds heard by the court earlier from this music box were part of a Morse code message. We know that Morse code comprises of two distinct tones. The defense believes the second disc contains the second tone needed to complete the message, and now we have a chance to confirm that theory.
For crying out loud, Sunshine, we're talking about state secrets here. You go letting the whole courtroom hear confidential information like that. It's treason!
And do you admit the charge? That in order to protect those state secrets, you engaged in unlawful dealings with the witness.
You're mad! If you let that secret information out into the public domain, you'll be making an enemy of the entire British government, you idiot!
Let's not forget, Inspector, that you, a Scotland Yard officer, leaked confidential case details to a witness. That you continue to lie to the court. And all because by fair means or foul, you're determined to do your duty. But by fair means or foul, I'm prepared to do mine.
Don't you dare!
I will stop at nothing to protect my client. I won't care who I make an enemy of. I kidnap 1,000 children before I let this company die.
What?
Monsters Inc. My lord,
Consent?
if you please. The court must hear the sounds made by that music box.
Come on, Van Zeeks! For Pete's sake, stop him!
Oh, the leg is here.
Inspector, you should know my methods by now. I'm a prosecutor. I'm no Scotland Yard puppet. Ugh. In this courtroom, my duty is to the law. So let me propose a toast. To uncovering the law, by fair means or foul. No!
Very well. The defense's stance here and that of the prosecution has been made very clear, I feel. Therefore, in accordance with the defense's request, the court will now listen as this music box is set in operation once more. This time, the second disc in place and both discs playing simultaneously. I like to think the music box is just gigantic right now next to them. The power of the music box.
Although it did say
compels them.
small in the description. Oh, listen to that. It's unmistakable now. It's Morse code.
Alright, I admit it. Whatever you want, but for the love of God, shut that bloomin' box up!
It's okay. No one here knows Morse code except that one lady. Let me ask you again then, Inspector Gregson. Did you, or did you not, strike a deal with the witness next to you in the stand, Mr. Ashley Graydon?
Specifically, did you furnish the witness with confidential case details in exchange for this music box disc? Did you reveal the existence of the people in the pawnbroker storeroom door, in fact, Inspector?
I did.
Stop! What are you doing, man?
So exactly like the young Eastern lawyer said, when the trial resumed after recess and we were stood here in the stand together, that's when he approached me with a deal.
Shut up, you imbecile! My voice just cracked so hard over there.
Psst, you there.
Wait, no, that's him. That's him again.
Which one?
Graydon.
You're the detective who turned up at the pawnbroker the other day, aren't you? I may have something you're looking for, Inspector. With me at this very moment. So how about a trade? I suggest you accept. Information that may make certain individuals uncomfortable will soon become very public indeed.
couldn't let that information become public knowledge, not under any circumstances, so I accepted the man's proposal and told him details about the case that should have put him in the clear. People on the storeroom door and the bloodstains on the overcoat.
By giving false testimony, the witness intended to have the defendant wrongly accused of murder. Inspector, you knew that, yet you still revealed those details to facilitate the witness's perjury.
Oh, I did. But then it turned out the people had only been made that night after the incident took place. Scotland Yard wasn't aware of that, if I'm perfectly honest.
Oh, Mr. Graydon, what do you have to say for yourself? There's nothing and no one left for you to hide behind. You struck a deal with the inspector in order to escape conviction of a very serious crime, namely this. Murder!
You perpetrated. Oh no, that wasn't me. Sorry.
No, it wasn't. I just said
Sure.
both lines in one word.
Far enough.
Oh,
Oh. Oh no. That's a cane, right? Oh, he looks angry.
Freeze frame.
Angry. He looks so angry. Bailiff! Bailiff!
I'll kill-
Restrain that man!
I'll kill you! I'll kill all of you! Especially those of you in the jury!
At once!
That's it then. It's all over.
Put up Claddy Loon.
Dun, 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 dun. I despise my life growing up. Those slums are vile places. I was cursed from birth. This is someone else, isn't it?
I feel like it is.
My parents did nothing but quarrel all day. What little money they had was never spent on me. It's Grayson, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably Grayson.
Hey, damn son.
So I set about studying to better myself, to one day escape from that hellhole. And you eventually became a communications officer. I admire your determination.
But then you just tried to try to sell government secrets. Why?
Because I'm a disturbed individual, you fool. Isn't it obvious? Because I wanted money.
That's a escape reference.
Even now, years later, the nightmares of my life from the slums wake me in the small hours. I wanted to drown them out. With more money than anyone who lived in that squalor could ever imagine. Then one day, I met him. Mr. Magnus McGilded. You're a fiend of a queer town, so you are. I've money to throw your way if you're interested. All you need to do is go along with me little plan now. I was to steal the Ministry's telegraphic message logs, and McGilded would buy them for a handsome sum. As I was responsible for inspections of the Ministry's communications office, it was a simple enough task.
The lure of the devil's offerings. How easy it is to succumb.
But you must surely have realized the seriousness of the crime you were committing. And for that reason, I took great lengths to ensure that my actions were untraceable.
By using the music box.
My father was a brickmaker, though my mother divorced him when I was still a child.
Yes. Mr. Mason McMilverton.
Gee, I wonder why he's called a mason. That's right. He was very skilled with his hands. He'd once been a music box maker's apprentice. I imagine his skills will be sufficient to create a machine that could generate Morse code. So I sought out my father again to employ his services. It was the first time I'd seen him since I left the slums 10 years earlier.
Look at you, Ashley! What a fine gent you've become, eh?
He was a different man to the one in my memory. A thin, frail old man. But poverty had never broken him, never corrupted him like it had me. I was sure that he wouldn't help me if I told him the real reason. So I made up a story. I've got some work for you, Father. I need some music box discs made.
Music box discs, eh? A musician friend of mine has written some music. Oh, sorry, that's you, I think.
A musician friend of mine has written some music he wants to sell to the public. I've brought a score with me. There are two, actually.
2 scores, 40 years.
I'd be delighted, son. It's been 1 score since I did any work like this, though. Fetch my tools, would you? They're in the loft.
That's how I made him. I had him make the 2 discs.
Thereby splitting the information in 2. You were taking considerable precautions indeed.
It was to protect myself as much as anything. It meant that I could deal with McGilded in 2 separate transactions. The first involved the first of the 2 discs and a music box for playing them. I exchanged them with McGilded for 10 guineas. Then in receipt for the second disc, he would pay 1,000 guineas.
So, what happened on the omnibus 2 months ago was the second part of a deal, the exchange of the second disc.
Yes. I'd sold the man information that way a number of times already. But it seems he became reluctant to part with his money. But that doesn't quite make sense, Mr. Graydon. For why was it that on the omnibus 2 months ago? Your father, Mr. Milverton, was the one dealing with Mr. McGilded and not yourself. When I received 1,000 guineas after my first completed dealings with McGilded, I decided to give 200 to my father for his troubles. But my father realized something was amiss. In time, he worked out that I must be involved in something dubious, and when he did, he said to me,
Next time there's an exchange, you'll let your old man do it, understand? Otherwise, I won't take your money anymore.
that was my father's way of dealing with it, I suppose. Climb into the omnibus, hand over the second disc, and take the money from McGilded. That's it. He had no idea it was actually on the discs I'd asked him to make. He never knew. Just like I'll never know why everything went so horribly wrong that night. All I know is that the disc was taken from him, and he never returned home.
He doesn't know.
It was only then that I found out what sort of a monster that Gilded really was. So after 10 years of not once uttering it, I swore on my father's name. To exact revenge.
Revenge? As anyone with even the remotest knowledge of this man would no doubt be able to imagine. McGilded brought all of his wealth and influence to bear in the most despicable of ways. To crush any semblance of justice in his trial. The crime scene was tampered with, evidence was fixed, and witnesses were bribed. That trial 2 months ago was a farce from start to finish.
My feet had barely touched British soil back then, and I walked into that hornet's nest completely unaware of the sinister background at all.
I'd made plenty of money out of my dealings with McGilded by then. So I spared nothing in my arrangements 2 months ago. I knew exactly who to hire. If you're willing to pay the price, there are people in the city willing to do anything you ask. McGilded himself had shown me that.
Are you saying that?
I think you have the picture now. After he twisted everything to his favor in his courtroom to ensure that he walked free. I took matters into my own hands and delivered the justice that monster deserved.
It's so interesting to get snippets of this game's stories when I'm pumping your stream. I don't know what the F is happening in this game. Oh, it's fine, Corvo, because that's basically how it is when I stream like weeks and or months apart. Like they're talking about a case I did 8 months ago, I think. Or was it 9 months now?
Enough to pop the Twitch baby, question mark? No, a baby with Ace Attorney. Is that me?
I assume so.
Right, that tragic accident following the trial here 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Was planned and executed by yours truly.
I'm going great. I think I'm nearly at the end of the game. The Gilded's death that day was caused by this man.
Everything is ready, sir, if you'd like to follow me into the courtroom.
What's this, officer? Sooner than I was led to believe.
Hope it's not inconvenient, sir. There were some changes to the schedule.
Well, I must be making tracks now. It's time for the inspection. They're going to examine the omnibus again, or so I'm told. Asked if I could be present for it myself.
Who's he talking to? Grayson? So that
Him,
policeman
you
who
must
came to tell McGilded he could examine the omnibus again.
That's right. An imposter, hired by yours truly.
Also, new Among Us map in a day.
McGilded used his wealth to manipulate the trial. He paid people to adulterate the omnibus with all manner of false evidence. He threatened witnesses to lie in the testimony. So I gave the man a taste of his own medicine.
Which is death.
Once the omnibus was doused in paraffin, one of my sham policemen ushered McGilded inside and sent him on a one-way journey to hell. An eye for an eye. That's how I avenged my father's death. Spine-chilling account indeed. But that wasn't the end of it for me. There was a loose end, you see.
A loose end.
Yes, I think it should be obvious. The second disc which my father had taken to exchange with Mr. McGilded. Ah, yes. There was indeed no mention of it in the man's trial 2 months ago. Clearly because it had been removed from the scene of the crime. When I realized it was missing, I remembered something. Something from the first time I dealt with Mr. McGilded.
Well,
This is
you're
the
doing
first
both
of the
of these,
two
so.
Sorry?
You're doing both of these fellas, I think.
Let's not think about that too much. This is the first of the 2 discs, and the music box you need to play them. Well, look at that now. What an ingenious little invention.
So then, as promised, 10 guineas for you, young man.
What's this? Windybank's pawnbrokery.
Hey, it's a pawnbroker's ticket, so it is. You can use it to redeem an article I've deposited there for you. There is no need to give a name, just hand over the ticket and tell the fiend the watchword. I put a jewel in pawn for you. I'll fetch a good 10 guineas if you sell it, so it will.
Damn, that's a sus way of doing this.
I've never heard of a pawnbrokery being used in quite that way before.
Have you not, Mr. Graydon? London's pawnbrokeries are very useful places, you know. Each one is like an extremely secure vault.
Running at the word count here.
So I knew that if he had taken 8 steps to hide the disc, it would be in that pawnbrokery somewhere. And that on the night he killed my father, he must have entrusted a ticket to someone.
Yes, to Gina. I remember now that when we first met you at Windybanks that afternoon 2 days ago, you had a description of Miss Lestrade written down. How did you know who you were looking for? The one pawnbroker in all of London. Which in fact was very easily broken into by bumbling idiots.
Because they left the door open. From the trial, that pickpocket's testimony was clearly peculiar. Anyone could see
In fact, it was broken into twice on the same night.
It's a very special pawnbrokery. I realized immediately that she was another of McGilded's pawns, that he must have threatened her somehow. I was fairly convinced it would be her who had the ticket. So I started to make some inquiries. I had a strong suspicion the girl would come out of the woodwork on the redemption deadline.
He was absolutely right.
And yes, sure enough, you did. All I needed to do was to wait till the girl went to Windybanks to redeem the articles. But unfortunately, she redeemed only McGilded's overcoat and the one disc that was in its pocket. The all-important music box with the second disc inside was missing.
Because it had already been forfeited 2 days earlier.
But I was unaware of that fact. Had I not been, I could have avoided my nighttime excursion.
Meanwhile, as our investigation into the stolen government secrets was progressing, we picked up on the fact that McGilded was involved.
Spectre, you've recovered fast.
My orders were to recover the stolen information as quickly as possible, so we started gathering the fella's possessions and examining whatever we could lay our hands on. We had a full-scale investigation going on at the yard, but we had to keep it as quiet as we could.
Then, when the inspector here took the disc from me in the pawnbrokery that day, I became nervous. I was sure the music box and the second disc were still there in the shop somewhere. So I knew that it was a race against time. I had to find those articles before the police did.
So that's what prompted you to break into the place in the same night. With the help of your old friends, the Skulking Brothers.
What happened that night in the pawnbrokery? I can only describe as a nightmare. While Nash and Ringo were searching the counter, I located the music box I'd sold to McGilded on the shelves of forfeited articles.
Hey, Vagabond.
And the second disc was inside.
Yes,
Hey, Fatal.
I slipped it
I'm
into my
afraid of-
pocket with a deep sigh of relief.
It's a run NPC right now. More or less.
But then something entirely unexpected happened.
Oh, sorry.
What are you doing in my shop?
I can't remember his voice. Immediately pulls that gun.
A gunshot rang out in the shop and I felt a sharp pain in my left arm.
The broker fired his gun, and the bullet pierced your limb.
Yes, exactly. But unfortunately, I decided to bring my own gun with me that night, just in case. Before I knew what was happening, I'd fired back. The man had already turned to flee. Hadn't intended to fire in his direction, much less kill him. But unfortunately for both of us, the bullet hit home.
I can't. Wait. I can't work out what this is supposed to say. Vagabond. Is Graydon the edge? No, he's just the guy in the witness stand. The edgeworth for the game is
Lord Van Zix!
unless of course you're saying that he's like dapper and all that. In which case, maybe.
It struck him in the middle of his back as he fled through the storeroom for refuge. A sorry tale. It all took place in the blink of an eye. I don't imagine Nash and Ringo didn't realize what had happened at first. I was so terrified, so I fled.
Is that from the second game, Vagabond? Because no spoilers.
And that's the whole story. That's everything that happened at Windy Banks on that wretched night.
Wait, hang on. His name is Baroque? I didn't know that.
You listen to baroque music.
President Brock Van Zeeks?
Earlier, you called McGilded a monster. A man who used his wealth and influence to distort the facts and escape justice for the crime of murder. What tragic irony, for what you have done is exactly the same. You disgust me. You've become the very monster you saw and despised so deeply in Begilded.
Oh, I've been doing this voice the entire time for this guy. That's the one voice I've stayed consistent with.
Yes, I think I have.
I don't know if Graydon is a very good character, Vagabond. He murdered! That makes him a bad person.
Well, this has been a long and exhausting trial. However, it would seem that at last we have arrived at the truth.
I'm glad you realized your mistake, Vagabond.
Inspector Gregson, what of Mr. Ashley Graydon?
He's been restrained, my lord, and is being escorted to the line. Also, let's not look into the things I did. He'll be charged with the murder of Mr. Windybank and the stealing of government secrets.
Very good. And you, Inspector.
My Twitter account, it's very easy to find.
Regrettably, you will have to face the charges yourself.
Yes, my lord, of course. It transpires that you were complicit in helping a criminal escape justice. That fact remains whether or not you were doing so in the line of duty. The crime is a serious one, Inspector, and inexcusable.
Now to defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade.
Say the word, say the word. Oh, yeah!
It's time for the final adjudication.
You tell me the Skulking Brothers aren't standing at the witness stand anymore? I'm so sad.
Is the jury ready, Mr. Foreman?
Yes, sir! Garrett Ebb Squadron standing by, sir. This really is it now. The last push, the final call, the finishing whistle. My men are ready to deliver their verdicts.
Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
They just want to get sequestered, damn thing. It's like that Simpsons episode.
You will now declare your final decisions to the court. Is that really necessary?
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
I think she's guilty. Aha! That's the stuff. I'm off the hook.
Finally, Runo. You finally managed to do it.
Finally is the word. I really wasn't sure if we'd come out on top for a while there.
Susie was right. You're the best liar in the world.
Why is every legendary prosecutor so weak in his... What do you mean by weak? Like, physically, or... Because I'm pretty sure, Miss, could beat the shit out of me.
Miss Lestrade, I'm not finished with you yet, phrasing.
Eh? What? What are you looking at me for that?
Before you start enjoying your freedom, there are certain other crimes to consider.
Oh, they lose their... Well, to be fair, I mean, we admitted, like, he wasn't technically right on the previous case. We just cheated to beat him. And apparently he's never lost a trial before that, because of course. And just like Edgeworth, ever since meeting Phoenix Wright, has never won a trial. Well, maybe except that one time, but anyway. Yeah?
2 months ago in my courtroom, no less, you gave false testimony, did you not? And in relation to the trial today, not only did you unlawfully enter Winterbank's pawnbrokery, you also attempted to abscond with Mr. McGilder's property, it seems.
You know, this was a much less about the Hound of the Baskervilles than I thought. Eh? Oh, I never done nothing of the sort! Of course not. It's not like you were gleefully wearing McGilder's coat in your cell yesterday or anything.
Oh, and just when I was getting excited about throwing a party for Ginny this evening.
Turning our attention to the defense, determining that when played together, the music box discs contained a message in Morse code was... Well, it was certainly a most unexpected revelation, Counsel.
Quite so, my lord. The prosecution was caught entirely off guard. In fact, I think we should applaud my learned friend's courage here. I propose a toast to demanding the government secrets be disseminated before the entire courtroom.
Very sorry about that. It was the only way I could get Inspector Gregson to admit what he'd done, so...
If I may say something on that point.
Isn't that... Oh, no.
About the sounds produced by the music box before.
Oh, is this gonna be something dumb? It's gonna be something dumb?
I wonder if that was really Morse code at all.
What are you saying, madam?
Why do you only say this now?
Oh, well, it's just that I'm really rather fanatical when it comes to Morse code, you see.
Why do you only say this now?
She really stands hard for Morse code.
So much so that the whole world seems to be covered in dots and dashes to me instead.
Just like her coat!
That's pushing it. Goodness, ma'am, an unhealthy level of obsession, one feels.
But I must say that in my opinion, the sounds produced by these two discs were nothing more than that. A meaningless series of two different tones.
Serious? Not series?
Series!
That's what she said.
I
What?
didn't notice.
Can,
It felt weird.
can that really be? It wasn't Morse code after all? I don't want to say anything, I didn't think it sounded like it. My lord, the defense would like to listen to the music box again.
Are you off your nut? How many times do I have to tell you those discs contain ministerial secrets, Sunshine? This courtroom is not an appropriate forum to discuss the nature of government communications. We know McGilded conspired to trade national secrets of our enemies, secrets acquired from Mr. Graydon. Now that the man has admitted to his crimes, we have no need to pursue the matter further.
Oh, is there something embarrassing, Van Zeeks? Ugh, but it's really gonna bother me.
Miss Lestrade,
Yeah, my lord?
that which you have seen here today in this courtroom has been extremely disturbing.
Something. Jury number 5 nuts when it actually is Morse code.
Falsified evidence, intimidation, perjury, a grim catalogue of depravity.
An appalling experience to befall any child.
Come on, it ain't nothing I don't see most days in the back slums.
I beg your pardon?
If you eat, you pay for it. That's just how life goes. Gina. Look, I reckon I've worked something out today. The world ain't fair, but if you want it to change, you gotta start at home. You gotta change how you are yourself.
Well, it's a very laudable lesson, I would say. I eagerly look forward to the born-again Miss Lestrade and never gracing my courtroom with her presence again.
I don't even mean, but it sounds like I hope to never see you again. Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm... It's great.
Oh,
Now, with
he's gotta say
regard
it.
to the murder of Mr. Pop Windybank, proprietor of a pawnbrokery business on Baker Street. I hereby declare the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, not guilty.
Ah, confetti!
Where's the confetti, Jack?
It was there.
Not just in the game.
I'm trying to drop a receipt in front of the camera. It keeps missing.
A for effort, A for effort.
Judge.
That is all. Court is adjourned.
But it's not really all. We gotta have a meet up again with like everyone. Oh. The sexual tension. The nutting.
On a personal note, I must say you've surprised me, my Far Eastern friend.
Ah. Oh!
Despite being a Nipponese,
Don't say it like that.
you saw through the pretense to the malice that festered within that Englishman, and at the same time saw through the grime to the surprising heart of your English client. You have a curious talent for judging character, especially considering our very different cultures.
No, to be fair, he doesn't actually usually drink it, Corver. He usually just like smashes the glass or throws it into the fire. I don't think there's anything curious about it. He really wants to be Godot from Ace Attorney 3. Whether we're from the Empire of Great Britain or the Empire of Japan, we're all human beings. We're not so different on the inside. You know, I took this case for one...
You know, I took this case for one very simple reason. Sorry about that, my throat. To lock swords with you once again, here in the courtroom.
You did?
When I encountered you for the the first time 2 months ago, it reminded me of toasting friendship and trust with another Nipponese, only to find my trust betrayed. Through you, I hope to look into the eyes of the man I once knew, and try to understand.
Oh, wait. Is Phoenix right, Nipponese?
You mentioned something similar earlier today.
Oh, sorry, my throat. About total betrayal at the hands of the Japanese. What happened exactly?
Well, you may ask. And one day, when the time comes, you will learn the answer, whether you like it or not. But not until next time on the second game.
Alright, well, I'll wait for that day if I must.
Coming to be known as the Reaper of the Bailey, and my retirement from service 5 years ago, give me cause to wonder if our meeting has some deeper purpose. So, fare thee well, my learned Nipponese fellow, until we'll meet again. Don't know when, don't know how, but I know.
Oh, I can't remember the rest of the lyrics. 17th April, 5:24 p.m. The Old Bailey Defendants Antechamber. Oh, here's Maya. Wait a minute. It's done. Oh shit, sorry. Is that like a Tool song about? Oh, it's so if I'm not mistaken. You have landed on one of the most likely songs to land on, Corvo, because it is one of 7 that appears twice in history. They stopped doing that not long after. So this is the second of 2 appearances of Renegades of Funk by Rage Against the Machine, a cover of the Africa Bambaataa song from quite a while back. And it's on the album Renegades, which I think is entirely covers, and is also the last album that Rage Against the Machine ever released. Following like the 2-3 of original material, and like ever since then, all you've gotten occasionally is like Zach De La Roca occasionally appears on some songs, and like there's Audio Slave and all that. But yeah, it's absolutely a cover. And yeah, I've never actually listened to anything else off that album, but yeah, it's fire. It hits, and yeah, it does like totally sound like it could be an original Rage song, but. When I was younger, I always thought he was saying the F word, because he puts so much emphasis on the word funk. And like I just associated Rage Against the Machine with being angry like that. Although I don't know when I would have heard that, because I didn't really know Rage Against the Machine. My history with the band is that I knew the name of them when I was a kid. I didn't knowingly know their songs. I knew that there was a song called Killing in the Name of when I was in high school because my friends liked it. And I technically did know the song Guerrilla Radio because about 45 seconds of it plays on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. But I don't think I ever learned who it was by because that game never told you. But yeah, it's Renegades of Funk is not really one of my favorite Rage Against the Machine Hottest 100 series, but like that's just because they also had those other songs. But it's pretty good. Yeah, I like it. All right, so it's over at last. But where's Iris disappeared to? Ah, congratulations, Gina. I knew it all along. I knew you were innocent. Well, you did what you said, Mr. Naruto. You believed in me right up to the end. You're as odd as your name. What's odd about it? I told you I had faith in you, didn't I? And also, like, Japanese names all sound like that. No one ever has before, see? Kept a promise, I mean. Properly. That's all. I've figured something out today. All my life, growing up in the slums, I've never trusted no one. But that's just because I'm scared of being stabbed in the back. I mean, the more you trust someone, the more it hurts when they let you down. Yes, I think I understand that. After all, I had a taste of it in that trial 2 months ago. I chose to trust someone and paid for it. That betrayal left a big scar. Well, he's the one who died, so it's alright. You know, though, Gina, I worked something out quite recently too. Trusting in someone else is really an exercise in learning to trust yourself. And when your gut tells you it's the right thing to do, and your trust is rewarded, there's no better feeling in the world. I think I have you to thank for reminding me of that valuable lesson. Oh, well, if you say so. Don't make a fat lot of sense to me, though. I'm trying to say that putting my faith in you, Gina, it's been a real pleasure. I'm crying out loud, pack it in! But I suppose I sort of feel the same way. I mean, sometimes trusting someone else is, you know, alright. Thanks. That's your line.
That's the way I see it, Rinosuke. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client.
Rest in peace, Kagami.
And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself.
After this experience, I'm starting to feel like I understand what you mean. Kazuma, am I living up to your expectations? Am I turning out to be the successor that you always wanted to be, should you ever pass on tragically in unexpected circumstances? Pardon the interruption. Nailed it. No, wait, no. Wait.
But what
the deuce does a man have to do to be notified around here, my dear fellow? Has he been standing there the whole time? that voice! It's
Maybe
too
the
late
bailiff
for...
that was searching the guy was actually him.
What?
Maybe the bailiff that was searching Nashi was
Surely
him.
not.
Maybe
It's-
he had a sleight of hand, and actually he was the one holding it the whole time.
It's... I was right then! It's too late for that voice now, Mr. Naruhodo. I've been standing here patiently in the corner of the room for eternity, losing my religion. Yes, it was me all along! I would have said that when you finally noticed me. But you people, with your incessant babbling... it's Mr. Sholmes. Yes, it was me all along, you see. I'd assumed you'd be taken back to the hospital, to be honest. Oh, come on, you've not met Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Indeed I was, but I managed to escape again. Oh.
Good riddance, good riddance.
I happened to be aware of one or two foibles of the doctor who was tending to me. I merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily issued me with a leave of absence. They're very above board. Good thing I did this tonight. But enough of my adventures. That was a fine victory, Mr. Naruhodo. Your tireless efforts justly rewarded, I feel. Congratulations are in order. As a close friend, I tip my hat to you. Oh, thank you. Some great detective you are. Great at being cold as ice, maybe. Have I irked you in some way, Miss Lestrade? Well, you've been having a snooze in your nice soft bed. Some of us have been fighting for our lives. Ah, well. That bullet did cause me to lose a substantial amount of blood, it's true. So I've indeed been feeling somewhat cold. Not perhaps cold as ice, but, well, willing to sacrifice. Could you take your hands off my neck, please, Mr. Sholmes? And, in some way, I suppose, congratulations are in order for you too, Miss Lestrade. What's that supposed to mean? Why so half-hearted? Well, naturally, it isn't my intention to alarm you, but... an acquittal at a trial with that particular prosecutor is perhaps a little... precarious. Well done, Mr. Sholmes. Not alarming in the slightest. Oh, the Reaper, you mean? Because anyone who's found not guilty in a trial he was working on winds up dead anyway. Is that it? The very point I was trying to make. As exemplified by the fate of Mr. McGilded, in fact. Ah, but of course! I pay no attention to such irrational drivel myself.
Yeah, well, you don't bother me. Oh, really? It's not the way I see it. The Reaper's a bit like him upstairs. Him upstairs? You mean like God? Yeah, him upstairs knows what, right? He knows what people are like on the inside. He won't have got the wrong end of the stick. There are some codes like that bog trotter what are rotten to the core. At the end of the day, him upstairs makes sure they got what they deserve. I suppose that's one way of looking at it. Don't look how old, what's his name, Rupert Murdoch is. Divine justice is one thing though. The Reaper taking matters into his own hands and claiming lies is another. Oh, I ain't like the McGildas of the world, so I ain't got scared. I got principles. I mean, you are a criminal, Gina. A trait in you which is to be admired, Miss Lestrade. Oi, just give it a rest, alright? As I was saying, congratulations are in order. The news of your acquittal was very welcome to me indeed. Let me express my heartfelt congratulations, Gina. There you are. Oh, that's you. That's you. Iris.
There you are, Hurley. How long have you been here? Honestly, I went to the main entrance especially to meet you there.
Ah, Iris, my dear. I do apologize. But wait until I tell you what happened. The pair made utter fools of themselves.
What happened?
As you know, I have a penchant for disguise. I was hiding in this room dressed as a bailiff. And these dolls didn't even notice my presence at all. They had no idea. Can you imagine, Iris? Would you credit it?
I'm not sure, really.
I beg your pardon.
I'm sorry, Hurley, but you don't have the weighty presence you seem to think you had. In fact, you really owe to be careful about that. It's going to land you in trouble someday.
I'll be careful. Ouch.
Anyways, it's such a shame. I was so hoping to throw a party for Ginny tonight. But you won't be able to come, will you?
Don't look like I'm gonna be going nowhere for a while. You heard the judge, Pat. I got stuff to make amends for, apparently. All them offences. What was it again? Breaking and entering. Taking the bog trotter stuff. What was in the lug? Blah, blah, blah.
Yes, I think you'll find that basically being a pickpocket is the main offence.
But diving ain't an offence. It's a job, ain't it?
I don't think so.
Still, it ain't. It's got me thinking as all this. Maybe I should start looking for another line of work. I mean, you didn't start off as a lawyer, did you, Otto?
Well, no, but I was never a pickpocket.
Well, anyway, I reckon I could make a change. I'm going to do something for all them like me from the slums. Something to make a difference for them.
That's a wonderful idea, Ginny. I'm sure you can do it. What is it?
Nothing.
I assume that's the bailiff, I don't know.
Miss Gina Lestrade?
Nailed it.
The prison carriage has arrived, ma'am. Come with me to the rear gate at once.
Right. Well, looks like I'm off then.
Yes, goodbye, Gina. And good luck.
Um, oh.
Yes.
Die! Ah! What was that for? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say, so... Ah, indeed! Perhaps the situation calls for a phrase hitherto missing from your vocabulary, Miss Lestrade. Eh? On occasions such as this, I would recommend a simple thank you. Oh.
Oh yes, it's good advice, Jenny.
Right, I see. Well... Thanks, oh. Thank you for everything what you've done, for believing in me. Cursed image, honestly. Not at all. In fact, that should be my line. Thank you, Gina. Oh, because
Hang on, why is that cursed?
everyone has a gun cover. it's you know it's Britain. Well, there she goes. There she goes again. I wonder if I'll ever see her again. Can I get a... Well, well! Quite the indomitable pick purse!
Oh, I nearly forgot. I brought a paper outside. And bought, sorry. Close enough. It's a special edition, and this trial is all over the front page.
How did that happen so quickly?
Pickpockets, innocence proven. Isn't it wonderful?
Wait, P.I.P. Pip? That's a... Is that a Dickens reference? You should have shown it to Gina. That means they gave up their alliterations. You should have shown it to Gina, Iris. She would have been thrilled.
Oh no, how silly of me. Ah, but anyway. Would you like to hear the good news or the bad news?
Ugh, not again.
Well, what do you say, Bruno? Harley?
As usual, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Absolutely not! I have no intention of listening to anything but good news.
Ah, there you have it. How people answer that question says a lot about them, doesn't it?
And last time we had this conversation, it would have made any sense to say it the other way around. Let's not go there.
Alright then, maybe let's start with the good news this time. The rain has finally stopped. It's a record level of rainfall apparently.
Well, that is good news indeed. We can journey back in greater comfort. Alright then, what's the bad news?
The huge storm has left a couple of the seas very choppy. The channel in particular is awful. The sailings out of Dover have been delayed by a day or more.
That means Cesara's still here. That means we're going to have a conversation with her. Wait. Dover? Those cliffs?
That's fine. If we head to the station immediately, we may still make it in time to wave Susie off.
But there won't be a
This
train.
game never
Surely.
ends.
We couldn't be that lucky. Who do you think I am, Mr. Naruhodo? Mr. Sholmes?
I rushed to Victoria Station earlier and made an arrangements for a special express. I don't like this station, it's not capitalized. It's wrong. If we hurry now, we shall be there in time for dinner. And I know of a fine restaurant that serves the most delicious baked sole. I don't. The Great Detective does it again. Indeed he does! I happen to be aware of a number of rail transport directors' foibles. What? I merely made my knowledge to them of them known to the man, and he happily laid on the locomotive. Elementary! My dear Ryunosuke. Just an idea, it might be wise to stop manipulating people that way.
What are we waiting for then? To London, Victoria.
Could it be the last scene? 18th April, 5:32 AM, Port of Dover, quayside. That took somewhat longer than I had anticipated.
Susie's boat must be about to leave now.
Mrs. Zato, where are you? Oh, how could you miss her? Over there, look. It looks like she's reading something. What is she gonna do? Mrs. Zato, wait, what are you doing?
She's gonna yeet it.
That's what I do to all books I finish reading.
Mr. Naruhodo, what are you doing here?
We came as soon as we could after the trial. I mean, we heard that sailings were being delayed due to the bad weather, you see.
Oh, I see.
This reminds me of that sprite of Luna in Virtue's Last Reward, where she's like making a weird triangle or thing. No, she's doing this. That's what I'm thinking of. For no reason.
Then tell me, how did Gina's trial go?
It went well. She was acquitted.
That's wonderful. Really wonderful news.
The book you were about to throw into the sea. It was your encyclopedia of British law, wasn't it?
Oh dear, I was hoping you hadn't seen that. I'm not worthy of practicing law in any way now. So, I was saying my final farewell.
You were saying goodbye to law? You, Suzato-san? Would I be correct in assuming? Hang on, wait, I gotta make sure that Vadal isn't lying here. That is Loveful by the Cardigans, which is a song that you might have heard in Baz Luhrmann's Romeo plus Juliet 1997 film, or you could just know it subsequently because it's one of the most played songs on the radio of the 1990s. And of course, Frida would suggest it because they're a Swedish band. It's a song I've always liked a lot, actually. It's just really catchy, you know? It's well made like that. Like, it's got a nice groove to it, but like, it's got that undeniable hook that you just can't get out of your head. The Cardigans cover. You mean like, I know they do a cover of "Burning Down the House" of Tom Jones, which I've not listened to in maybe 20 years, so I can't vouch for anything on that regard. The only other Cardigans song I know is My Favorite Game, which is also Hottest 100 Energy, and I can't say anything about it because you didn't pay for me to say anything about it. But yeah, I like Loveful a lot. It's a banger. I did not know the extent of their cover work, certainly. Then.
I deliberately altered the scene of crime, and then I tried to hide the fact. What I did is utterly unforgivable.
That reminds me. How did you even come to have this, Susie?
On the evening of the incident, Mr. Sholmes had invited Gina to dinner, if you remember.
Oh, yes! We had a wonderful time!
Well, Gina gave us a little introductory lesson, didn't she? To the art of pickpocketing, I mean.
Oh, that was so much fun! I stole Bruno's armband!
Yes, please don't do that again, Aris. That band's very important to me.
Well, if it's so important, you should pay more attention to it. We didn't notice for ages!
On a whim, I thought it would be fun to see if I could take the cat flapper-mat, so I put it up my sleeve. What? Huh? What? That seems like a huge device.
Really?
And then I rather forgot about it until I found myself in Mr. Windybank's shop with it later that night.
I see.
And then... Ah! Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes!
Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo! Right.
After Mr. Naruhodo had left the shop, I started to think. That door started to play on my mind.
The storm door.
Oh.
Wait, what do you mean, Frida? They only have like 2 entries in the 90s. Like, if anything, they could have a lot more. Like, there's just Wonderwall and Morning Glory, and then like I think in 2002 they also had Little by Little. But it's actually like surprising how little Oasis there is. There's way more Blur.
Yes, if Gina was anywhere in the shop, I realized it could only be behind that door. And at that moment, the little device that I had up my sleeve sprang to mind. I was so worried about Gina, I simply had to know.
If I remember correctly, Morning Glory is only like number 50. So, you use the cat flapper mat to make the peephole in the door.
It's captured in a photographic print of the shop.
But like that's also like the same year they had wait, no way is it 7. You must No, it's 13. Has someone messed with the Wikipedia article? Because there's like a person who is constantly messing with the 2014 list for some reason in the same way. They keep changing like a few spots. And I have friends who've like constantly had to change it back, and they once even got semi-protected. Because this one lunatic has been doing this for years.
By one of Hurley's red-handed recorders.
Indeed, it was of first importance at that point. Little known fact, quite known fact, the most entries in a single Hottest 100 is the year 2005, where Wolfmother have 6 songs. It was nearly broken in 2019 because Billie Eilish had 5 songs, then she also had one at 101 and 106 or something, I think. So she really could have beaten it, but nope. Precisely when the peephole was made, that information would prove to be Mr. Naruhodo's greatest weapon. Though naturally, without proof, it would have amounted to nothing.
But when I look through the hole in the door, the sight that met my eyes made my blood run cold. Thoughts started to run through my mind. I remembered that trial 2 months earlier.
The trial of Magnus McGilded.
Thought about how he had manipulated the evidence and arranged false testimony to secure his freedom. Wait, how did she know about this so quickly?
It was in the news, remember?
That's bullshit. The news has no way of knowing that.
And it has also been like 12 hours now, I guess.
I guess. It made the British justice system feel very dark and sinister to me. And then a terrible thought occurred to me. What if some wicked criminal was planning to do the same thing now? Because from the appearance of the crime scene, it looked exactly as though Gina had shot Mr. Windybank. Even though I was sure she would never have done such a thing.
You were worried the true culprit will try to frame her for the crime. Don't worry, I don't think anyone will kill Windybank again.
That's right, but then I realized it would be very difficult for anyone to give false testimony in this case.
What do you mean?
Well, the crime appeared to have happened behind the door of a locked room. For someone to claim falsely to have witnessed it, there would have to be a way to see beyond the door.
Ah! For which a peephole would be the very thing.
Only the people I had made wasn't actually there until after the crime was committed, of course. And the criminal would know that, so it wouldn't make any difference.
But the possibility of a rather ingenious trap was there, was it not? A trap? Is that why she did it?
So, is that why you kept it a secret, Susie? You never mentioned that you made the peephole to anyone, not even to the police.
I know. And I knew at the time what I was doing was wrong. A criminal offense, even. That's why I decided to confide in Mr. Sholmes. If Mr. Naruhodo was completely backed into a corner, with no other possible means of escape, the truth about the peephole could save him. That was my plan.
She really does think of everything. But then, why didn't you just tell me everything before the trial began? My dear fellow, you're not thinking straight. If she had done that, it would have rendered you complicit in the whole escapade. You could have been disbarred if you'd been seen to knowingly have tampered with the crime scene. So Miss Cesare decided to shoulder the burden of the responsibility alone, for your sake and Miss Lestrade's. A loophole, if you will, Mrs. Zato.
The truth is, when it happened, I did it because I lost a little of my faith in the law.
Oh.
I was worried that the right person wouldn't be convicted of the crime. But the moment I allowed myself to think that, is the moment I lost my right to call myself a judicial assistant.
What you did isn't comparable to what he did. Graydon is the one who lied in the witness stand, using that peephole as a way to implicate Gina. And besides, if the peephole inconsistency hadn't existed, I'm not at all sure she would have been acquitted in the end. Mrs. Zato, what you did. Saved Gina's life.
Well, with your kind words, Mr. Naruhodo.
You gonna finish reading that?
You've saved me too from my regrets.
Must be close to the end. Well, we must all be thankful that Miss Lestrange's freedom has been assured. Yes, exactly. Although some of the loose ends in that trial will continue to play on in my mind, I'm sure.
But the revelation in the music box this contains secret messages, Mr. Naruhodo. What a triumph to work that out. I'm full of admiration.
Well, actually, that argument wasn't quite as compelling as I thought it was.
Oh, it wasn't?
There was a communications officer among the jury members, you see, a telegraph operator, and she said the majority of the sounds of this were just meaningless tones. She kept it for herself. Corruption runs all through that office. As one would expect, after all, we're talking about a secret government communications. No doubt they were written in cipher to avoid being reality understood should they have been accepted. Cipher? I say Bill cipher? So, then we could never have hoped to understand the message anyway. Nonsense, my dear fellow! It's quite a zero-pi problem, I assure you! What?
Well, that can't be a real word, can it? How funny.
Wait, Iris, what did you just say?
Oh, I just said Asogi.
Iris.
Does that word mean something to you?
Means something. Asogi was the name of my best friend. Oh, yeah. Iris.
What?
But how? How do you know that name, Iris?
I wrote it down during the trial before, when the message was playing on the music box.
She transcribed it on the fly? She really is a genius.
I thought the message probably wouldn't be written out in plain Morse code, so I tried various ways to interpret it. But whatever I tried, the words just didn't seem to make any sense. That is, in English at least.
Oh,
Suddenly occurred to me, you see. There's more than just one Morse code, not just the English variety. Various countries around the world have altered and added to Morse code using their own languages.
I don't believe it. Are you saying...
That's right. I've only actually seen a chart of Japanese Morse code once before. But I think it's based on the Iroha pangram, isn't it?
And you mean to say that in Japanese Morse code, the message says Asogi?
Yes, I think so. Sorry, but I don't remember all the Japanese Morse code.
Iris, would you let me see that?
Mrs. Zato, do you know it? Do you know Japanese Morse code?
Yes, I spent some time studying it. Because I'm quite sure Morse code will become ever more important for international communications.
Oh. Then might I recommend, my dear madam, that you focus your efforts on the English version?
Be that as it may, Iris, show me the message, please.
Of course!
But what can this possibly mean?
Whatever's in that long sequence of supposedly meaningless dots and dashes, it's made the color drain from Cesare-san's face.
There's no doubt that this message is written in Japanese Morse code.
So the
So the
British
British
Empire
Empire
has been using Japanese for its secret communications.
Oh, sorry. Jesus Christ. I don't understand the reason why, but the message appears to be a list of 4 people's names.
4 names.
The first is Kei Asogi.
So, why is his name on the disc?
The second is Shin.
Shin. I don't recognize that name.
The third is T. Gurugusun.
Gregson?
Yep.
Gregson! Ah! It would appear Tobias Gregson is the 3rd man on the list. What's his name doing in a secret government communication as well?
And the last name.
Spanzeeks! What's the matter, Mrs. Otto?
It's just so strange, so unexpected.
It's me!
Iris? What if it's Sholmes?
Oh, what is it, Susie? Don't keep us in suspense.
The last name is J. Wilson.
Ooh!
Isn't that her father?
Yes.
What?
Wilson?
Why is that not in Japanese though?
I mean, I think she
John-
translated it.
But still, the other ones were like Japaneseified.
Well, just the one.
Hey, Wilson? You mean Dad?
It says only J. Wilson, so I'm afraid I can't be sure. Then after the 4 names, it reads, if I translate it from Japanese, that it's all 4. And that's the end of the message. Or rather, the end of what you noted down, Iris.
I just can't believe it. Who would ever have thought those discs contained Japanese Morse code? Not to mention a strange list of some disturbingly familiar names, and also the Shin guy. It would appear there's a particular message. There's a communication of some kind between Great Britain and the Empire of Japan.
So, Daddy could be in Japan then, where Susie and Bruno came from.
Oh, wait.
Oh, well... I guess.
No, it's not very likely, really, is it? I mean, there are thousands of people of the surname Wilson. There must be lots of J's among them.
Professor John H. Wilson, visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yamea University. But we can't tell Iris about that now. We just can't. This is so strange. Somehow, in solving the case of Mr. Windybank's murder today, I feel like I've rolled back a boulder at the mouth of a very dark cave.
I do wonder.
I do.
If perhaps it's a dark cave that we shouldn't go wandering on inside. Oh dear, the ship is going to sail soon.
Yes, it seems so.
I'll sail on that steamship first to the port of Dunkirk in France. Then I'll change into a larger passenger vessel bound for Japan. You're really going then, Susie?
We wish you a safe passage, Miss Susato.
Thank you so much. I wish all of you the very best that no one ever was.
Miss Susato. I'd hoped I would always have you at my side to guide me and support me.
Mr. Naruhodo.
Please, come back soon. As far as I'm concerned, you really are the very best judicial assistant in the world.
I'm quite sure. I'll be back before you know it.
Really, Susie?
Oh, now don't forget, Iris. I made you a promise I've yet to fulfill.
A promise?
About your manuscript.
Ah,
Oh yes, the Hound of the Baskervilles.
well, I'll be waiting for you then, Susie. A promise is a promise.
Definitely, Iris. Mr. Naruhodo,
Yeah.
do you remember the first time we met?
Yes, of course. Nope, nope. On the SSB, when I was dragged out from that wardrobe still
Super.
half asleep. If I remember rightly, you threw me halfway across the cabin with a Susato
There we
takedown.
go. You know very well that I'm talking about after that.
That wasn't the first time we met.
It's strange that being thrown together as we were in that case somehow felt straight away. That you were the perfect person to continue Kazuma-sama's great legacy.
Miss Susato.
My instincts were right. Pretty one to believe. No, I'm sure that I'll be back soon. Farewell until then.
Somehow we seem to have come to the end of the adventures of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Or the first volume, at least. Looking back now, it feels as though fate has led me on this journey. Fate led me to becoming a lawyer, to traveling halfway around the world, to meeting the great detective. I'm sure there'll be trials and tribulations ahead. Of course there will. But whatever happens, I know I'll be able to turn my fortunes around. After all, I have the greatest
So
friends
extra.
in the
Sholmes
world
would love to do
on my
Raimi.
side.
Ah yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, Mr. Sholmes. I have some rather awkward news. Can I have the awkward news or the good news first? The railway company has decided to sue over the special express train, apparently. Huh?
You caused such a commotion on the line. All the other trains had to wait at stations.
But really, we would never have made it to Dover in time otherwise. Anyway, I explained everything and how it was all your fault. Huh? Huh? I believe a formal complaint should be delivered to your office tomorrow. But not to worry, my dear fellow, according to Miss Susato.
You love defending yourself at court.
Huh? Huh? Huh?
It's alright, I'm perfectly happy to testify. You really don't look like the sort of man who would do something so outrageous. See?
Mr. Sholmes. Yes? A word, if you don't mind. Why, certainly! Any word you like. Bellow it out, my dear fellow.
Oh yes, I love Bruno's words. And I know just the one he'll use.
Oh, is this the way they always end every game? Then, I really must say...
Objection. Oh no?
Made it! It's only taken 11 months. In the following weeks, hundreds of music boxes arrived at Baker Street from all over Europe. Something was afoot, though it transpired I had ordered them all myself. So I advertised them for sale with, used by Mr. Sholmes to solve an important case, and the money I've earned, consulting detective work, pays a pittance by comparison. You gotta be on the money here. It's gonna auto-attack.
Ah! I haven't slept a wink. Well, cooks is an overstatement.
Witness, your testimony. I can't even remember who's doing it. Is riddled with contradictions. Exactly. Really do rare Corbon coincide under rare stakes themselves? Well, I don't know, Zan. Knows his father is an innocent man, or are you calling my son a liar? Witnesses, my court is no room place for your petty arguments. I'm gonna be working overtime here.
I'm running out of time.
Having delivered the Russian dancer to shore in Shanghai, I laid low on the steamship for a while. But last night I apprehended an extremely suspicious Japanese national on board. I have done nothing wrong! All I did was give Wakahai's offspring refuge in my pocket! A man brings some kittens on board and suddenly he is a hardened criminal! It's not fair!
Scientific investigation would be the gold standard for policing the new age. I dreamt of a world governed by the tenets of order and discipline, like a strong, great clock in fact whose hundreds of parts mesh together in a perfect unison. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have but 2 minutes and 37 seconds until my next appointment. The latest Rants magazine's out, and I'm in it again. Whenever I say that one line she wrote now, I get a standing ovation. Want to hear it? Humph. Not bad, I suppose. For an amateur. Ugh. Her ladyship puts me to shame. Been visiting the old girl on a daily basis, of course. Joni, my old jailbird, must say battling with those barley stairs every day has done wonders for the decky peg. Managing rather well with the housework too, got this maid business taped up, I'd say. Hope the gossiping neighbours don't realise the man of the house is his own maid. Good portrait, dude. My Rawley's back on the beat again, all thanks to the Reaper. There's nothing I enjoy more than hunting down the small change in the gutter. I'm a better Bobby now, looking out for Londoners that drop pennies in my lovely wife. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rowley. This is a throwback and a half.
These are some credits.
Looks like I'm gonna be doing time for a bit now. But Iris comes every day for a natter, so it ain't too boring. She's always going on about all them cases what Sholmes is looking into. Criminal investigations are kinda interesting when you get into them. Yes, I renounced my upbringing and chose a life of sophisticated crime. But regrets? Please. Give over, bruv! This ain't the Ash we used to know! We got time in here to plan the comeback of Milverton Skulkin's milk run, right? The three Muscowazits! Milking the neighbourhood for all it's worth! I can't do three voices at once, I apologise.
I believe in you.
This past 6 months has been a time I shall remember forevermore. Painful goodbyes and wonderful encounters. I've come to realize that's what life is all about. Naruhodo, son, I promise. Your assistant will return to you one day. But for now, I leave you with many memories and a heartfelt wish that life will treat you well. Kojima?
Oh my gosh, the cat.
It's symbolism, because Sherlock Holmes always has to lean on me. It's goofy looking. I don't think those were the voice actors, thank you very much. Anyway, I can't remember if I've said this before, but I don't think I'm going to be streaming the second half of the game. What?
Go way too long.
Yeah.
It's gonna go on way longer than this.
I might find some means of doing it in a way that people can. I'm still thinking about some things I want to do on YouTube and things like that. Not saying anything else yet. I'm just thinking about it. And if so, there may be means. I may do something, but not on Twitch.
Those sailors, I don't remember them much, but now I remember them.
Oh, he's got the stake on it.
Right.
Oh, he stops there because that's the bit where he dies. That's tragic.
That's what I was thinking. Oh no.
I'll take that. Wait, stop! No, I'm falling behind! Has he got to start running in? Oh no, he's just amazingly caught up. But he has the sword, which is what I animate it. G'day, mate. Wait. The one on the right might be Sherm's, but I don't think so. That sign said donking. Just want to say.
I love how she waits for him to go in front of him. So she can admire him from behind. Cat.
Get in line.
Hey.
What the deuce?
I like how she has to walk a bit faster to keep up with everyone else.
She doesn't have quite the stride.
Yeah, but sometimes.
Speaking
like,
of
in
Lestrade,
games,
here's Lestrade.
in games, they usually try to keep like, I don't know, they try to synchronize it, right? But no, she's just out of sync because she needs to keep up.
So, this sliding. Actually, Sholmes doesn't move. Everything around him moves.
That's next level of being egotistical.
He's like JK from Jamiroquai.
How is it not over yet?
I mean, I think it's over. Oh, new title screen! And then I have to find some way to play all the Miles Edgeworth games or something. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. It's been a long ass journey. Thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for coming along for the ride, Effie. And yeah. Not sure what I'll stream next. But I'm glad to have at least finished half of this game. Yeah. I've just seen the exact time that is and realised that I have something I want to do in a moment. So, I'm going to bid it there. If you're watching this live, or via a VOD,
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, etc., etc. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. The important thing is, I never have to do this voice again, or maybe. And the important thing is, you have a good time, probably. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!